Okay, are you talking about Kagari or a certain other red guy? Because she is using funnels after all. We open this week with the band Snatch pretty much just dropping all pretense and launching a full-scale invasion on the Alisphere. I would question what exactly their endgame was, as they still needed to farm Muse assets, and an attack like this was causing a full-on evacuation, but whatever, they were also seemingly trying to take back this world for their queen, plus as we'll see, this is probably going to be their last episode, at least for a little while, but more on that later. Anyway, since this whole episode was basically just going to be a long climactic battle, the princesses just cut to the chase and arrived on the scene. They transformed and were about to engage the boys, until Minamo felt it necessary for whatever reason to tell her teammates that Nachi had figured out her secret identity, and obviously by extension, theirs. Oh my god, the hypocrisy of that statement is actually making the universe fold in on itself. But yeah, I guess this is a little moment of levity in the episode before it became a barrage of action and drama. Plus, it was meant to confirm that the princesses were out of their stupor, which appropriately enough threw off Gita. Oh, sweet summer child, humans survive a day in the world of Precure and their absolute lack of urgency. Anyway, with those details out of the way, the near episode-long battle started, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a full-on Sakuga fest. I mean, while we did get some small bits of high-quality animation, it was overall kind of weak sauce. Like, sure, I wasn't expecting Kohei Kobayashi or Koji Ito to just completely take the reins of the show, but still, for a mid-season fight, I do want to be a little greedy and say I want a little more than this. Now that said, I don't think these were bad fights in the slightest either. Like for example, comparing this with yesterday's Idol Precure episode, I actually could have gotten over some of the lower quality Mitsuru Aoyama animation if the storyboarding and flow of the battle wasn't also kind of awful. While it certainly helps, you don't necessarily need to have the best animation to have an engaging battle, you just at least need to have a nice flow to it and have some sensible feeling of escalation. If the characters were just to hit the instant win button when the opponent shows an obvious sign of weakness, then it's basically more of a Mario boss fight, but worse because you're not even playing the game. Here, the battle starts with the princesses basically musoing their way through the cannon fodder, and yet there was still a clear progression in how they landed all of their hits as they curb stomped these guys. From there, things properly escalated when the band Snatch entered the chat. Again, a little better animation would have been appreciated, but as long as it plays out sensibly, then I at least won't call the fight itself bad. And this was definitely the case here, as the band Snatch decided not to pull any punches.
Princess との最後の対バンといこうか。
最終回近辺にありがちだって言いたいにゃ。
With that, the two sides engaged, and the princesses did what you're supposed to do in most RPG battles, and focused on the white mage first, which, again, ironically enough, was Rory McGee. That said, they also did come up with some good tricks to pull this off that weren't just brute force. Nagase is confirmed to be smarter than Naruto. Yeah, not that high of a bar, but still. During all of this, we also checked in on the real MVP of the show, Nachi. Still in Minamo's room, she kind of invaded her waifu's privacy by looking in her autograph book, but she was mostly just trying to look for her own autograph, and a very powerful message that she had left next to it. This of course made her imagine Minamo and ha! Okay, I'm all for Yuri and everything, but Nachi, why did you imagine Minamo as if she were in a shampoo commercial? Anyway, she decided to log into the Alisphere. With that, we cut back to the princesses and their ongoing battle. And of course, the most fun part of this fight began when they started using their shards. Oh come on dude, you can do it way more over the top and memey than that. And impressively enough, Nagase managed to keep up with the much faster Gita by just doing the actual smart thing and swinging where she predicted he'd stop. Again, stuff like this is incredibly engaging. Meanwhile, Minamo got the actual best animation for her fight with Callisto, which was a little more of a straightforward brawl, but also had all of the energy and speed to make it an exciting exchange. In the end though, and as awesome as it was to have them play Triad Force throughout it, Band Snatch managed to win the war of attrition. Back with Nachi, she ran to Miai, who was being a bit of a naive little brat, who tried to go down to support the princess, which, yeah, she wouldn't be able to do much, except encourage Nachi to do her part, so okay, maybe she was doing something. Though I will say, I kind of wish that we could have seen some of the other victims of the week they had saved, to make at least some voiceless cameos or something, especially in this kind of an episode, but whatever. Nachi climbed to the highest point in the owl spear and did her thing. This girl is just gonna one-shot the queen, isn't she? But yeah, on top of rejuvenating the princess, Nachi also ended up giving them a new song to sing, the Super Higher Dreamer. I'm gonna guess that they had heard it at one of her concerts, or maybe they were making up their own lyrics and just using her melody as a base. Also, I love how Nachi's version of this song was called For My Precious. Gee, I wonder who she could be referring to. In any case, it was a powerful song about not giving up on their dreams, which in turn allowed the princess to combine all of the shards together to finalize their X-Drive forms, which, okay, maybe I should actually call them their Mega X forms, as they, and especially Nagase, were looking more like one of Raichu's newest forms. Yeah, I'll be honest, as much as I do find their base dresses to be absolutely lovely, with them looking like full-on ball gowns, I'm not crazy about the X-Wings, which, yeah, they also do look like that thing that Luke pilots. I don't know, I think I just would have preferred it if they looked like actual wings rather than whatever this is. Also, the official name for these forms was Take Me Higher. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with calling them the X-Drive forms, otherwise that stupid song is gonna get stuck in my head. Anyway, with their new super forms, they just pulled off an epic beatdown on the Bandsnatch. I especially love how they basically pulled a Ryuko versus Nonon, with them basically having a beam battle with their songs. With that, the princesses finally managed to defeat the Bandsnatch. And yeah, I'll admit, I felt bad for Gita here. I think it helps that these guys clearly had an unwavering resolve to serve their queen, so it was easy to empathize with their efforts, even if, like the princess, we still couldn't get fully behind whatever the hell they were trying to accomplish, which they were still being vague about. In any case, without their instruments, they revert back to their fairy forms and okay, and I'm the only one kind of getting a kick out of the fact that Dran is actually a chubby little bulldog. I mean, it's a very appropriate animal for him, but still, he just looks so fat and funny. However, I guess things were also supposed to be sad, as I think they were fading away. Again, they didn't really make it all that clear, and just said that they were returning to their queen's side, which, if they're actually all dead, then this might be them passing on. I'm very much against that, as I'm really hoping this is going to be the last time we see them. With that though, Nachi arrived to celebrate their victory because, let's face it, she deserves just as much credit as the princesses, and what the hell is happening? Oh, it's the Red Queen and she's... Please, don't do what I think you're about to do, otherwise I'm gonna have a heart attack! It was an effective conclusion to the Bandsnatch's arc for now, as we're seemingly moving on to the next phase of the series. Sure, it would have been nice if the animation was a little more clean, but sometimes that's not everything. If I could put on my tinfoil hat for a second, I think a possible reason the animation for this episode was a little lesser was because they put a lot of that budget into the songs of the season. I mean, between the 2 or 3 new songs we got in this very episode, we also have Bandsnatch's Perfect Showdown that was introduced just for this 2-parter. And considering how all of these have just been total bops, I think it was a worthy sacrifice. Helps that the action here was supplemented with some good direction that made it feel dynamic without it even needing to be a Sakuga fest as we went over. Of course, it also helped that it had a good story behind it, with Nachi really stepping up and end up really pushing the princesses to the next level. It really highlights the positive feedback loop that they have going, even if she still isn't a princess yet. Yeah, I'm still holding out hope for that development, as well as of course learning what our villains' motivations are, which I am getting a little impatient for, but with the Red Queen outright confronting our heroines, I think that'll be a non-issue soon enough. Like seriously, this show just knows how to keep me hyped, and overall, this is a great conclusion to the Bandsnatch's arc of the series that's left me really looking forward to the next story arc, which I'm hoping will involve a lot more of the Red Queen. I don't know what happened to Tsubasa that drove her to becoming a tyrant, but again, if we're getting some more awesome songs out of it, especially by Nana Mizuki, I'm all for it. Thank you for watching, and if you want to be taken higher, well, our videos can help with that, and not certain other substances that we probably can't mention here. We've got something new coming out almost every day, as well as some new series that will be starting up soon enough. Look forward to whatever comes next, and until then though, forever now my friends, and if you'll excuse me, I should probably get my heart checked out after that.